Who knew Craigslist was a getaway tool? Forget job postings and used couches. Someone used it to vanish into thin air, with a bag full of stolen cash and a personal flash mob as cover. Okay, so imagine you're scrolling through Craigslist. You're jobless, bored, maybe even wearing pajama pants that haven't seen a wash in a week. Suddenly, you spot a listing that says something like, easy work, $25 an hour, show up wearing a blue shirt and safety goggles. Cash paid same day. Meet at 11 a.m. sharp. Seems odd. But hey, 25 bucks an hour to stand around in construction gear? You've done weirder things for less. Now multiply that by dozens of people. That's how our story begins, with a suspiciously vague job ad, and a guy named Anthony Curcio who somehow thought, what if Ocean's 11, but on a Craigslist budget? Anthony wasn't your typical masked bandit. No ski mask, no mysterious past, no van full of tech gear and 5 synchronized watches. Nope. This was a dude who literally typed up a help-wanted ad and then weaponized it. The job? Technically fake. The goal? Very real. Because while all these poor Craigslist recruits were showing up in identical outfits, milling around like confused extras in a Home Depot commercial, Anthony was pulling off a bank robbery about 100 feet away. Seriously. He planned his great escape to the letter, and that letter said, bring decoys, lots of them. So it's the big day. The sun is out, the coffee's lukewarm, and about a dozen Craigslist strangers are standing around near a Bank of America branch in Monroe, Washington, all dressed exactly the same. We're talking blue shirt, yellow safety vest, protective goggles, basic confusion about why they're there. One guy brought his lunch, another thought it was a construction gig. Nobody questioned why they were all supposed to wait next to a storm drain. Meanwhile, our main character, Anthony Curcio, former high school football star turned criminal project manager, is parked a block away, mentally reviewing his master plan like he's giving a TED Talk on deception. He's got a disguise that matches the Craigslist crew, a canister of bear spray, for customer service, a getaway raft. Yes, a raft. At around 11 a.m., he walks up to an armored truck making a delivery. He looks like any of the dozen other guys hanging out nearby. Only this one? He walks up to a guard, maces him with bear spray, grabs a sack of cash like it's Black Friday, and runs. The witnesses? Yeah, they're like, which blue-shirted guy was that again? Because everyone looked exactly the same. It was like trying to find Waldo if Waldo had pepper sprayed a security guard and sprinted into the woods. And the best part? While the cops were frantically questioning the wrong guys, some of whom were just hoping to finally get that $25, Anthony was booking it through a culvert that led straight to a nearby river, with a blow-up raft waiting for him. Like a cartoon villain on summer break. So picture this. Anthony's just maced a guard, grabbed a sack of money like it's a gym bag, and dashed off into the distance like a cartoon coyote who actually planned ahead. While everyone else is panicking and the cops are interrogating identical-looking Craigslist extras, "No, sir, I thought we were painting a building." Anthony slips into his escape tunnel, a storm drain that leads to the river. Because nothing says, "I've thought this through," like a soggy concrete pipe and an inflatable raft from REI. And yes, he really had a raft. This guy didn't just plan a heist, he planned a floating exit strategy. He paddled down the Skycomish River like some kind of criminal Huckleberry Finn, only with a backpack full of stolen cash instead of fishing gear. Now, here's where the plan goes from insane to suspiciously impressive. He had stashed a second getaway car downstream, just sitting there, waiting for him like a loyal golden retriever. He pulls his raft out of the water, probably soaking wet and smelling like river slime, tosses the oars in the trunk, and peels off into the suburban distance. Meanwhile, the police? They're still trying to figure out if this was a coordinated crime or the worst-dressed flash mob in state history. One officer allegedly said, "We were interviewing everyone in a vest," which was everyone. The level of distraction was chef's kiss. He'd essentially turned Craigslist into a human smokescreen, and it totally worked. For a while. So Anthony's floating escape was, honestly, the stuff of low-budget heist movie dreams. Craigslist crew? Distracting the cops. Bear spray? Effective. Inflatable raft? Functional, if not exactly dignified. But now he's drying off in his second getaway car, counting stolen cash, probably thinking, "I am a criminal genius." Catch me if you can. Except, spoiler, they absolutely will. Here's where the plan springs a few leaks. Literally. See, Anthony Curcio made one teeny oversight. He left his disguise behind. And not just anywhere, right near the escape tunnel. As in, the wig, the fake mustache, and the neon vest he used, all dumped like last season's fashion in a bush by the storm drain. But wait, it gets better. Authorities found a used two-way radio and a receipt for the wig from an actual store with a date and video surveillance. Turns out when you rob a bank and leave a paper trail, you're not a mastermind. You're an Etsy shop owner with rage issues. And the cops? Oh, they were loving this. They followed the receipt, got the store footage, and voila, there's Anthony. Not in disguise, not even trying, just waltzing in like he's shopping for a Halloween costume. But the pièce de résistance? A witness saw him scouting the bank weeks earlier, in the same van he used on the day of the heist. And that van? Registered in his wife's name. So yeah, not exactly subtle. At this point, the FBI steps in like the grown-ups at a kid's birthday party gone wildly off script. They're looking at a bank robbery, a guy in a dollar store disguise, a getaway raft, and about 15 innocent Craigslist hires wondering if they're getting paid or going to jail. And the FBI's thinking, all right, who's the genius behind this Scooby-Doo episode? Let's recap the forensic evidence, shall we? A receipt with his actual purchase info, surveillance video from the costume store, a witness who saw him weeks before, sketching the scene like a B-list detective, a van tied directly to him. Oh, and wet footprints near the escape route because apparently his waterproofing plan did not include his shoes. But here's where it becomes a true crime comedy. Anthony, realizing the heat is on, does what any self-respecting amateur criminal might do. He panics. He starts trying to cover his tracks, deletes things, denies things, probably Googles how long can bear spray stay on your record. But the feds? They've already got enough to close the file, write the report, and start drafting the Netflix pitch. And when they finally show up to arrest him, he doesn't try to run, doesn't pull a fast one, doesn't even throw on a second wig. He surrenders, like a man who's realized that inflatable rafts were never the answer. So, Anthony Curcio, high school sports star turned part-time disguise artist, pleads guilty to first-degree robbery. The court was not impressed by the inflatable raft, or the Craigslist flash mob, or the bear spray. He was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison, which, honestly, is a pretty light sentence considering he basically played real-life Where's Waldo with a bank robbery. Now here's the twist no one saw coming. While in prison, Anthony apparently discovered redemption. He started writing books, talking to kids about drug abuse and crime, giving motivational speeches like the Tony Robbins of heist prevention. Turns out prison gave him a second career as a reformed criminal speaker, which is great, but still, someone out there probably showed up in a safety vest thinking they were painting a school, and instead got questioned by the FBI. Also, none of the Craigslist workers ever got paid. Zero, zilch, not even gas money. And let's be honest, that's the real crime here. So what did we learn? If a Craigslist ad seems too good to be true, it probably ends with a federal investigation. Disguises don't work when you buy them with a receipt. And inflatable rafts should stay in summer camp, not the getaway plan. Don't try this at home. Or anywhere, really. Thanks for watching, and remember, just because someone gives you goggles and says, "Stand here," doesn't mean you're part of a legal operation. Catch you in the next one, where hopefully the plan is slightly less waterproof and is